Are you asking yourself, am I an old soul? How do I know if I'm an old soul? Sophia Persephone here, and today I'm going to tell you some of the hallmarks that will help you to recognize yourself as an old soul. So one of the first things is you're asking the question. So that implies that you have an awareness at a certain level of your consciousness that you are an old soul. New souls don't normally ask this question, am I an old soul? The second thing to say is the very fact that you're on Earth means, or at least in this dimension, that you have completed at least 40% of your soul lessons. This is a very difficult environment, and we don't get sent here unless we have reached a certain level of maturity. So the very fact that you're even here means that you are at least an oldish soul. But if you're awakening, and you probably are if you're watching any of my videos, that means that you've completed at least 70% of your soul lessons. So by default, yes, you're an old soul. If you're awakening, you're an old soul. You may even be a bodhisattva soul, which means you've completed at least 98% of your lessons. And you've come here to help. You've come here to help the human race as it is in this dimension to its next goal of global enlightenment. But there are some other hallmarks of an old soul, typically when they incarnate in this environment with a mission to awaken. There are certain hallmarks that can help you definitively say, yes, I'm an old soul. So the first thing is most old souls, certainly those who are due to awaken in this lifetime, have had a difficult childhood and typically will have had problems with at least one parent, or that parent may be completely absent. And this is just because it's the game of life. We're playing the game of life. Our mission is to awaken, but there's an opposing team whose mission it is to stop us awakening. So they will have positioned certain actors in our environment whose goal is to prevent us from realizing our true soul potential. And one of the ways they can do that is by making your childhood very difficult, because then you have a lot of trauma to untangle, and until you untangle it, you can't awaken. It's a prerequisite. So if you had a difficult childhood and problems with at least one parent, that is a really strong indication that you are an old soul and you came here to awaken in this lifetime. You probably have suffered some considerable trauma in your life, in childhood and beyond. And again, it's for the same reason, is to give you a load of stuff that you need to untangle. And the goal there is to try and prevent you awakening. But because you're an old soul, you're higher evolved, you can get through this stuff. So if you haven't started your inner work yet, get going on it, because that's the thing that is going to move you up into this state of being able to awaken. You would also have had some psychic experiences. What happens typically, an old soul who is due to awaken in a lifetime is put into a physical avatar, as it's known, which is adept. This is the word that is used in the higher dimensions. So that means you're naturally tuned in. You're tuned into the other dimensions. You're tuned into your guides and your higher self. So you may have had, unusual experiences when you were a child. Maybe those continued into adulthood. Often there will be a break and then they will come back to you. But that is a very clear hallmark of being an older soul. You also may have had some connection with religion in your life. This can be the way that you were brought up, or you yourself may have developed an interest in religion or in Buddhism, not a religion, but in the same sort of space. And all of these beliefs introduce the idea of a supreme being, and that is something that we need to understand to be able to awaken, that there is a supreme being who governs our universe. I call her the architect. And also that we are sort of part of that being. We are all part of this one supreme whole. So having that platform of religious belief, whether you've maintained it or not, allows you to put your awakening into context. So that's is very typical. Now, you may also have been aware through your life that you're different. You may have felt like an outsider in many environments. You may have looked at the way other people behaved and thought, you know, why are they doing that? I just don't understand why this is a way someone would behave. And that's because as an old soul in an adept human avatar, you're really strongly connected to the higher dimensions. And in the higher dimensions, society is already enlightened. So there's no war, greed, all of those things. They just don't exist. People behave well to one another. There's an idea in the higher dimensions which is called only the other. And that means putting other people before yourself, looking for ways you can help and looking for ways you can contribute. So if you recognize that in yourself, again, that is a very clear indicator that you are an old soul. Another kind of thing that comes off that is often old souls feel compelled to help other people, and we often give too much, and that is directly a consequence of this connection that we have, conscious or unconscious, to the higher dimensions. We know we're here to help. We know we're here to make things easier for other people. Of course, in the human society that we have here on this in this dimension today, that's not the norm. So what often happens is we give too much and we're not getting back either. So we become drained very quickly. Our energy becomes very low. So if you've had these periods of very low energy, again, it's a hallmark of being an old soul. Now, do you instinctively feel that you're here to do something? You don't know what it is, but you just feel that you're at the moment not fulfilling your potential, or there's something you can contribute that is bigger than yourself. If you're asking yourself, am I an old soul? That is a really, really clear indication. You almost certainly have come with a mission to fulfill. You might not know what it is yet, but you will find out as you progress through your awakening. And you may also feel that you want to live a big life, that you're not happy with a quiet life, that, you know, retiring to a cottage by the sea all sounds very nice, but you know instinctively that that would not fulfill you. You want to go out into the world, you want to connect with people, and you want to do something that leaves a mark. And you may travel a lot, or you may feel you want to travel a lot and you're just looking for that opportunity. Again, an indication of an old soul, because wherever we go, we leave an energetic footprint. And if you are an old soul whose mission it is to awaken, that footprint that you're leaving is really positive. You are making a difference completely unconsciously every time you travel out into the world. The other thing, the final thing I'm going to say about indications that you're an old soul is you love animals, and you particularly struggle with any kind of pain or injustice that is inflicted on animals. You may be very drawn to veganism, for example, even if you haven't managed to quite implement it in your life, but you understand those principles. You understand intrinsically that we are the guardians of this planet, and that we are here to take care of not just other people, but the animals who share the earth with us. Often you will own animals, or if you are unable to own animals for any reason, then you will find opportunities to spend time with animals. So how do you know if you're an old soul? If any of that sounds like you, and normally you would have all of those things would be present in your life, then that is a really clear indication you are an old soul.